the Added Time Podcast.
Hi, welcome back. Added Time Podcast, episode 12 to my knowledge. As we get higher up the ladder of episode numbers, we may just stop reading out the episode number. I'm not sure what good it does for you guys, but we're back today, post-Champions League final. It's not all we're here to talk about today, but we will get into that just at the start, just like we did last week. But today we're going to be continuing our in-depth series, and this week we're going to be talking about Arsenal. We're also going to have 45plus3.com writer Jacob Jessup sending in a little bit of information for you guys on how he sees Arsenal this season. But as always, I'm joined by Harry Martin. How are you?
Well, Tiers, I'm great, really excited to be up. Well, I've had quite a monotonous week this week at work, and I've seen you two have had 2 cheeky trips to the zoo. So I don't know if you're going to cheekily expand on that and see. I saw James did a little video of the lions. I quite enjoyed that. So yeah, looking forward to this week's pod. And not my favourite topic in Arsenal, as many of you know, but we got to keep it professional, keep it moving. Yeah, James, I'll just expand on the zoo. How was it?
Thanks, Harry. Yeah, the zoo was fantastic. Had a lovely 3 days up in London and obviously hit up London Zoo. Unfortunately, the only day it was raining was the day we were at the zoo, but did also mean the animals are all out as they were, cooling off after this hot few weeks we've had. Tias also went to the zoo. Tias, how was the zoo?
Yeah, it was really good. I think it's the biggest zoo in the UK, so it was quite a flex. Yeah. What was your favourite animal, James?
At London Zoo, there's a vast array of animals. I can't go for one. There was 2 I really liked. There's one camel on its own, which I really enjoyed looking at because they're just marvelous creatures. And then the penguins are just fantastic, aren't they? God, give me such a chuckle every time I look at them. They're silly little idiots.
Well, guys, on Twitter tonight we're going to be doing a poll. Best animal at the zoo. So make sure to follow us on Twitter, addedtime_pod for that one. And I think we'll get back to the football now, but sorry for that short anecdote.
On another note, my favourite 2 animals were the jaguar and the baby meerkats. So they were great. But anyway, it's also nice to welcome James back to the podcast. Obviously a hiatus last week due to internet connection. He does live in quite rural internet areas, so just be nice, guys. Anyway, let's start with a quick discussion about the Champions League final. Paris Saint-Germain 0, FC Bayern München 1. It was a final game. I think a lot of people were going, "Oh, this is going to be a great attacking game," and I just kept going. We always kid ourselves into the final being the ultimate football game, but it's always quite a dull affair with both teams kind of not really wanting to lose. Harry, do you think this was a deserved winner?
Yeah, realistically, but bloody Nora. What's up with PSG's finishing? They had about 1 million chances. And Mbappe in particular, that cutback one is a shocker. Di Maria taking it, the world's most one-footed player, skied that one on his right. Neymar just falling all over the place. I think they easily could have won that, but I don't think either team actually played that well. I think Bayern were quite poor, to be honest. I don't really think they had many chances, apart from the one they scored. PSG probably had more chances in the game, less possession. Yeah, disappointing for them. And I think now we just got to see what the future of Neymar and Mbappe holds, because I'm not too sure with Neymar's time running out in his career. Maybe he might want to move on. But if they do replace their defence next year, I definitely think you can see them going again. Just a very frustrating game. You thought a second goal maybe would set it like all the first goal, and it just really didn't. What do you think, James? Because I know you love the Champions League.
Yep, Champions League, one of my favourite competitions. To be honest with you, I did think it was one of the more disappointing Champions League finals. Whether the lack of a crowd had anything to do with that, I'm not so sure. But no, I know it didn't, because the Europa League final was fantastic. But yeah, there we go. I think Bayern Munich were deserving winners, not only over the course of the match, but the course of the whole competition. Hansi Flick showing what he does best. Fantastic manager. Over to you, Tias.
Yeah, no, great final. Not great final, but a great team in Bayern Munich. I think they're deserved winners. I've kind of wanted them to win just to stop these mega money oil teams winning the Champions League, and it puts it off for a few more years, so us football purists can have our day for a bit. The Bayern Munich's still a giant, but I guess they're more solidified and been there for years. But anyway, let's get into our Arsenal in-depth chat. We're going to open up with a bit of a message for you guys from
Last season was awful.
45plus3.com
Finished
writer
8th,
Jacob Jessup.
won the
He's an
FA
Arsenal
Cup. Other
fan.
than that,
Let's listen to what he says.
bloody awful. Then we look on to next year. Looking at bringing in, well, it looks like we're looking to bring in Partey, Ceballos. Look like we're bringing in that Gabriel from Lille. So we're moving in the right direction, balancing out the squad. We've already brought in Willian, some Cedric Suarez and Pablo Mari. So, good signs moving forward, but it all depends if we get Partey mainly, I think. Yeah, I think a lot of positivity around the club since the FA Cup win. Arteta seems like the right guy. Aubameyang looks like he's going to sign a new contract. So it looks like we're moving in the right direction, but still years behind Liverpool, City. Chelsea's strengthening as well. United in for Sancho. I mean, it will be tough, but I wouldn't put top 5 past us if we got Partey. If not, I don't think it'll be too different to the way this season's gone. I think at the moment a similar level to Spurs. I think if the season was to start today, we'd probably finish where we were. But Spurs don't seem to be very active in the market. United are just going for Sancho. Leicester, apart from Tagliafico, not many links. So a lot of positivity around the club. Personally, I think the most likely way to get the Champions League is to win Europa League, but that competition's getting stronger every year. I mean, look at it this year, Inter Milan were in it. The year before, Chelsea won it. So it's like top European sides are winning it every year. So yeah, it's a lot harder to win that. I think the most important thing at Arsenal is a clear out to get players like Socrates, Kolasinac, Guendouzi, Torreira, Lacazette, Bellerin. Martinez looks like he's going to go. So players like that who don't play a lot and they're taking up a huge chunk of the wage bill, to get them out. Ozil too. Do that, clear a lot of wages up, but hopefully get some transfer fees in. But yeah, looks like we're moving in the right direction. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got top 5, but like I said, it all depends on who we sign by October the 6th. To be honest, I think a starting 11 of Leno, Maitland-Niles, Saliba, Gabriel, Mari, or with Gabriel, then put Tierney left back, then the centre mid of Partey, Xhaka, Ceballos, then a front three of Saka or Willian with Aubameyang and Pepe. I think it's quite a solid team, definitely a top 6 team, but depends how well they gel and how the teams around us strengthen, to be fair. But I think we are improving and on the right track, and hopefully we'll be in the top 4 back in the Champions League very soon. I think the keys this summer are ship the deadwood, try and get a few bob in for them, especially Guendouzi, Torreira, Holding, Martinez, Lacazette, Socrates, Mustafi. I reckon there's probably minimum 100 million there. And a lot of wage would be cleared up too. Bring in Partey, bring in Gabriel, bring in Ceballos on another loan. And then I think that balances out the squad, the team, the wage bill, and then hopefully we can kick on from there. But I think Partey is the key to our success next year if we get him. If not, I don't think we'll be much different from this year, to be honest. So yeah, I think the obvious goal would be top 4, but I think it may be a season too early. So I think definitely top 5 if we get the additions in and a few good runs in the cups in Europe. But I think it's just going to be another transitional season to get towards the top 4.
Wow, very interesting stuff there from Jacob. Nice to see what he says about Arsenal. let's start our chat, guys, with what looks to be the imminent signing of Gabriel Magalhaes. I'm going to start with Harry because I believe he was at a Chelsea-Lille game this season and would have seen him in the flesh. What did you think of him, Harry, and what did you think of him in general?
Well, I mean, he turned Tammy Abraham into prime Drogba, so I think that just says all you need to know, really. Yeah, he wasn't screaming to me that he was the next Varane, as some Arsenal fans are saying on Twitter, which I think is completely ridiculous. I think it's the overhype that's going to kill him. I think he's a good prospect, and I think it is a good shrewd signing for them. But the way it's the overhype from Arsenal fans in every player they sign. It's like they've Saliba and Magalhaes are like Ramos and Varane in their prime. Like, I don't understand where they overhype them. And I think the overhype sort of setting them up to fail because they are both young and they are both going to make mistakes. But end of the day, surely they're going to be better than Mustafi. And yeah, Magalhaes didn't really impress me on that day, but can they be worse than what they've already got? What do you think, James? Because I know you're a hater of David Luiz and many Arsenal players.
In my humble opinion, Gabriel, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I won't try. Haven't seen a lot of him, in all honesty, but my prejudice for Arsenal it screams to me, so I'm not going to like him from the off. Also, think he is better than, well, he can't be any worse than the defenders they've got already. But I mean, this talk of them getting into the top four because they've got two unproven centre backs, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Liverpool, when they wanted a centre back, they went and got Van Dijk, the best in the world. Likewise, City, when they wanted a centre back, went and got Laporte. It just screams small club signing, if I'm honest with you. And it's the sort of signing you'd expect to see Everton making. It's it leaves a sour taste in my mouth for sure.
Yeah, but it looks like Arsenal are willing to spend in this transfer window. They've also got Willian on a free transfer. I'm sure Harry will dive into him in a minute. It's looking like via Twitter, there's a lot of talk about Thomas Partey also coming to the Emirates, and I think that'd be a great signing. It would certainly sort out the defensive midfield hole that Arsenal have been missing for a few years. So I think they've got some good signings coming up. Also, if they can get Dani Ceballos back, he looked like he really fit into Arteta's team towards the end of his Arsenal career last season. So I think that would make for a great transfer window. I've seen Jacob talk about Houssem Aouar joining Arsenal, and I've also seen Harry replying on Twitter that there is no chance of that happening. I've heard there is a cash plus Guendouzi deal on the table, so it'll be interesting to see if that pulls off, because if those 5 signings all come in, that would be certainly a fantastic transfer window for Arsenal. Harry, what do you think Willian adds to Arsenal, and are you going to miss him in any way, shape or form?
No, we will not miss him. As you can see, not one Chelsea fan is sad about him leaving. I think Arsenal fans need to just open their eyes. He played well since the restart, like decent, but he scored like 9 goals this year, 4 from penalties. And people say Tammy Abraham had a bad season. He had like double the amount of goals and a few less assists. It's ridiculous. And fucking Arsenal fan TV saying, sorry for swearing, Arsenal fan TV saying that Ziyech is up and coming and Willian is far better than him. It's just ridiculous. Willian is the most frustrating player to watch as a fan. He's way too inconsistent. Like, one game he'll be a world beater, and the next game he can't beat his man, and his corners doesn't even get 5 yards from the where he's taking it. He's just frustrating. I think it's time for him to go. 3-year contract as well is just ridiculous, which is the main problem, I think, with that transfer for Arsenal. Yeah, he might be good for 1 more year, an improvement definitely on what they have, because he's probably better than Pepe. Let's be honest, it's not hard. But and then I think 3-year contract. They're just getting mugged off again. He's going to be tied there till he's 35 years old. Like, pretty rough for them, and he's just holding back playing time from people like Reece Nelson, Saka, etc. And I think they should have given the game time to him if I'm coming from a neutral point of view. But, end of the day, it's up to them, their money. They're acting like they've just signed prime Cristiano Ronaldo. But good for them, I think he'll do good next season. The other 2 years, I'm not too sure. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Tiers, because I know you love just bad players usually.
No, Willian is certainly a player at Chelsea. It's a weird one. I've always thought at Chelsea he hasn't been quite the player he is when he plays for Brazil. When I watched him at the World Cup, I remember in 2018, I thought he was quite a good player. And then at Chelsea, he just hasn't been able to replicate that in terms of goals and assists output. But it'll be interesting. I'm not going to badmouth any signing this summer because you never know at this stage because everyone was hyping up Pepe last season and look what he did. So you never know if it's going to turn the other way around and someone will surprise us. But overall, I think if they can get Partey, Gabriel, and Ceballos, that would make for a good window for Arsenal. Let's talk about the manager, James. So there's been a lot of likening between Arsenal, Manchester United, and Chelsea as all having these young managers. So I think we can take Man United out of the equation sometimes. I'm not sure why people are trying to bring this in, but Solskjaer has been a manager for the best part of a decade now. So he knows what he's doing, and not very well, I might add. But I'm sure we'll get into that in a Manchester United in-depth episode. But Arteta, James, how far do you think his ceiling is, or do you just think this is as high as he's going to get, and he isn't what he's made out to be?
The frustrating thing for me about Arteta is I want to like him, but the absolute propaganda that these Arsenal fans are churning out about him being, the second coming of Jesus is just absolutely outrageous. The guy, I mean, no doubt he probably is a good manager, but it just masks over the fact that all these Arsenal fans are just sucking him off all the time. It's disgusting. He's won the FA Cup. They finished eighth. Guys. Did we all forget that? It's a terrible season for Arsenal, and it's the same old thing with Arsenal, isn't it? Finish in a poor position, even though, right? This is the bit that gets me about Arteta is Wenger can finish fourth, win the FA Cup, and they want him sacked. Arteta finishes eighth, admittedly only had half a season, but finishes eighth, wins the FA Cup. Bloke's Pep Guardiola with hair. It's disgusting. Absolutely irked by this, as you can probably tell. And the less I talk about it, the happier of a man I'll be.
Yeah, Harry, we'll bring this into something you'll know about. Who do you think's got the higher ceiling, Frank or Arteta? That's Frank Lampard, not Thomas Frank, sorry.
Well, yeah, I just want to apologise for James's language in that he just gets a bit heated talking about Arsenal. I think everyone's going to be a bit blown away by this slander, but it's all in good fun, mainly to clickbait you into listening to the episode with our wild opinions. We know what we're doing. And anyway, Frank Lampard versus Arteta, I think that's a bit of a hard one because as much as you say Arteta hasn't been a manager, he has been the study to Pep Guardiola, questionably one of the greatest managers of all time. So I think Frank Lampard's just had Jody Morrison being shoved into it. So I think guidance is a bit different. So I'd say Arteta's had a lot more practice, even if he wasn't the main man. You cannot say that he's had much more experience being a coach, being a manager. I think Frank Lampard's still sort of working out what his philosophy is because I'm not sure it is defined yet. I think we will play the 4-3-3 with an 8. I think Arteta at the moment has a higher ceiling because you just don't know what Frank's going to do. I haven't really seen enough of Frank Lampard yet, but I think he's impressed. How can you not say he's been impressive in the first 2 years? I think at the moment Arteta probably is slightly better manager, but then he's had years of guidance under Pep Guardiola. But then I'm saying this, Frank's just come fourth, and the only reason you might say is because of the final, but Frank came fourth there in 8th, and our signings, his pull power just looks incredible. And Arteta at the moment signed Willian and Gabriel Magalhaes. I think we're getting Havertz, Chilwell, Werner, who are all saying that Frank Lampard was the reason they want to join Chelsea. Got Jimenez from Atletico Madrid saying that he wants to play under Lampard. He wanted to play with Lampard. I think that's the main thing which going to make Lampard a great manager is a lot of players have respect for him. So I think it's hard to judge them now. I think next season will be the good test because they both had signing. I think it's unfair to compare them now, but I think Arteta's definitely had more guidance. But yeah, I think next season's a big tester to see which manager can really do it because they'll have the squads that they wanted.
Bringing it to next season now. Of course, we're going to have our Premier League and Championship table predictions coming out very soon for you guys. I think it'll be a double podcast week that week, but it's looking very soon. But let's preview a bit of our selections for Arsenal next season. James, how do you think they'll do next season around the table?
Based off the Arsenal fans' opinion, they'll be fourth. You know, they're completely wiping out the chances of United, Spurs, Leicester. In my opinion, I think these young centre backs are going to need a little bit of bedding in time. I personally, genuinely, and this is my honest opinion, you know, no bias involved, they're finishing sixth. I think Spurs looked slightly better towards the end of the season after coming back from lockdown. I really like the look of Bergwijn and Kane and then Son all playing as a front three. I also think that United look fantastic. We'll soon find out what this absolute mayhem in Mykonos has caused Harry Maguire's mental state. Can't be any worse than he was last season, though. So I think it's going to be United fourth, Spurs fifth, Arsenal sixth. To be honest, either way, why are we settling for mediocrity? You know, this team were in the Champions League not too long ago, and they seem to be happy with you know, a trophy that looks like Tim Vine. It's disgusting.
Lord Almighty, that's really made me lose my train of thought. But what even was the question? I was going to have to hand back to tears. That incredible joke from James has just thrown me.
I'll give you my previews for their season. I'm quite excited by Arteta. I think he's a good manager. He's got some good ideas. He's clearly got some tactical nous about him. Of course, playing 3 at the back or 4 at the back. As much as people hate on Luis, I think he is. James getting a picture of Tim Vine. Fantastic. But I think David Luiz is pivotal if they're going to play 3 at the back, because he does bring the ball out and he's got great passing range on him. It's just his defending. But then I guess they can hope that Gabriel and Saliba can mop up his mistakes. If they can sort out their defence, they've certainly got probably one of the best strikers in the league in Aubameyang, arguably the best. So if they can sort out their defence, I see no reason why looking to challenge at least for top 4 is on the cards. I think more than likely it'll come a season too early for them, with a lot of teams being strong around them. But saying that, I'm not too keen on Man United, to be honest, and I'm not too keen on Spurs. So I think it may come down to whether Wolves and Leicester really push on this season, whether how hard the top 4 spot's going to be. How do you think they'll finish this season?
I think they'll do better. Like, realistically, they can't be much worse. I think it was their worst season in 25 years in the league, so can't really get much worse. I think, sorry for that little pause there, I was just having a little thought. I think the main problem for them is that their other teams are improving as much as they are improving greatly. Everyone else is as well. Probably for the exception of Man United, actually, who aren't investing. And Spurs, can you call Højbjerg an improvement? Like, pretty rough signing from them. But this is a team that just got to a Champions League final not too long ago, so you can't really count them out. But yeah, I think for me, I'd say maybe 5th. I think they'll be fighting for top 4. I think the gap this year will be closed down. There won't be any runaway leader like last year. I think it'll be a lot tighter at the top. Maybe a group of 6, the big 6, sort of pulling away with maybe Leicester and Wolves in that. I think people are forgetting how good they are. Leicester tailed off to the end of the season, but Wolves, if they keep all their players, maybe make a few signings, I can see them staying up there and being a threat. So that's the problem with Arsenal. Yes, I think they'll be improved. I think they are going to look a lot better, but so are other teams. And it's going to be, I think it's just going to be really hard to call up there. It really depends on what team shows up for the entire season, because a lot of teams have the talent like they did last year and there's a lot of falling off. But for me, I'm going to go 5th. For me, I quite fancy them to do 5th because literally it can't get worse. And a full season of Arteta, I think And I don't know why Tiers is slandering Man United as well. They literally were the best team since the restart. And I don't think anyone can question that. They got a lot of, as much as I find them frustrating, the penalties is ridiculous. That continues into next season. No way they can't even be up there winning it. Getting a penalty every other game last season. It's crazy. So, yeah, that's my thoughts with Arsenal. I'm going to go 5th, but it's going to be really hard because everyone else is improving. So, over to you, Tiers. He's gasping for the mic as he stretches his hand out for me. So, you're going to hear the sound soothing of his voice right now.
Yeah, we'll save our Man United chat for potentially next week when we'll go maybe in depth on them. We're going to put a little Twitter poll out for you guys who you want us to talk about in depth for next week. Potentially Spurs or Man United. We could get some guests on for that. Yeah, potentially. So we'll do a Twitter poll and we'll see if who you guys are interested in listening about. Probably going to be our final one before the season starts and we do our league table predictions. But as always, thank you very much, guys, for listening. I appreciate the how this in-depth series is doing. I think we had some good numbers last week on the Chelsea one. Hopefully we can continue that again and into the new season. Stick with us. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next Monday or Tuesday.
Well, guys, this Tiers just tried to cut me and James off without saying goodbye, and I can't do that. I've got to say goodbye to you. I'm going to do it for Jacob as well. Jacob says goodbye. I don't know if he really said goodbye, but yeah, I'm off for another day. It's my one day off this week, so I'm going to enjoy it. Sadly, there's no football, which is quite sad. So I'm really looking forward to the new season. And I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback on this podcast, guys. I've been really enjoying the interactions on Twitter, addedtime_pod. And I'm just going to say thanks. I'll see you next week. And hopefully James will too. I'm just going to hand it over to him for a goodbye.
Yeah, guys, Tia's been disgusting as usual, trying to leave me and Harry out of the goodbyes. Never will happen, guys. Love you too much. I've just got one last thing to say. Well, firstly, I'll say goodbye and we'll see you next week. Finally, fuck Nicolas Pepe.